following him on stage are our distinguished panelists, Tom and O, CEO of Metis, RJ, co-founder and CEO Aligned, Yao Qi, founder of Outlayer. Ladies and gentlemen, please give them a big round of applause.
Thank you, everyone. I'm Daniel, Kintsugi Technologies. We do Web3 infra in different countries. I'm really happy to have this panel on L2s, which are now all the rage now that the world is adopting crypto. I think what would be interesting is if we could just go down the line, you guys do a quick intro, and then I'll get into questions about maybe people need to know what L2s are, and then the specific technology stacks that you guys do. Yeah.
Great. I'll kick it off. Hi, everyone. It's great to be in Korea. My name is Tom Ngo, CEO of Metis. We launched one of the first L2 scaling solution for Ethereum, been around for about 4 years, and really innovating the space with our new Instant L2 and our focus on the AI sector currently. Great to be here.
Hi, everyone. I'm RJ. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Aligned. We are building infrastructure around Ethereum to sell access for institutions and private institutions as well to Ethereum. We're building our own L2 stack solution on top of Ethrex. There's an execution client for Ethereum. And we are working mostly with people that are new to Ethereum and they want to start building on top of it.
Morning, everyone. YQ here, founder of Outlayer. So at Outlayer, we're providing all different blockchain infrastructure services. For example, this rollup as service and also AVS as service. So basically, we are launching a lot of different types of L2s, OPC, Arbitrum, Orbit, and also all different ZK rollups. And at the same time, we are also powering some decentralized AI and social infrastructure for all different applications.
So maybe just as a refresher, right? We're using L2, ZK rollups, rollups as a service. Maybe if you guys can give a quick introduction on what is an L2, why do we need L2s, and then, right, maybe we can get into the more nitty-gritty about like the ZK solutions that I know you guys are using and stuff. So maybe if you can do your best shot at doing what is an L2 and why do we need L2s?
I think the easiest way for the audience and just the public to understand what is L2, think of about as a HOV lane, a high-speed lane for your normal traffic. It provides a solution for Ethereum where there was high gas fees, slow transaction, and it made it hard to scale. It made it hard for the normal users to really use. It's improved quite a bit, but still, L2s were created to bring scalability to Ethereum ecosystem. That's why that's why L2 do exist and why it was created.
Maybe RJ, if you can talk a little bit about like you guys are doing a lot of work with ZK and you're combining a lot of these VMs and stuff. Can you describe how your L2 solutions are working with those technologies and maybe a little bit about ZK too?
Yeah. So because the way we chose in order to scale Ethereum was using L2s, what we decided to do is build our own stack and solution for it. Why? Because what we're targeting is more a B2B model. What we want to do is work with enterprises, private and public institutions that already have millions of users, and what they want is access to Ethereum. So we're offering them the best features of Ethereum, but with scalability, because they do want to offer affordable transactions and being able to onboard millions of users. That you cannot do that completely instantly on top of Ethereum. So we decided to build our own stack for an L2 that is decentralized, performant, and interoperable with the L1. Because most of the people that want to build on top of Ethereum, they want the security of Ethereum, they want the 24/7 markets that are available, that Ethereum didn't have any downtime since the beginning, and they do want the liquidity of Ethereum because there are billions of dollars already on L1. So we decided an L2 stack from scratch, completely vertically integrated, to offer these features that people are demanding from Ethereum. And this way, we can offer them, but with scalability and affordable prices.
And you do that with ZK. Can you talk a little bit about like how the ZK is integrated into that L2 solution?
Yeah, so our background of our team comes from working in cryptography and with various ZK teams. From a long time, we chose ZK as the main tool for us in order to scale Ethereum and offer certain guarantees. And the stack we are building is using an execution client written in Rust, that is a programming language. And there's something called ZKVMs. Those are virtual machines that are provable. That means you get a certificate after running certain code that something was run with integrity and everything is okay. and those certificates are verified directly on Ethereum. So our stack only works with ZK. It's not an optimistic stack. It just runs this execution client plus different ZK virtual machines, like the one from Saxint called SP1, RIG0, and we're working with many others like OpenVM and other teams that are building amazing technology. And we chose this because we believe this is the best way to offer scalability with security. So our stack is completely designed from scratch with that in mind.
Maybe that's a good transition to YQ, because AltLayer, you guys are roll-up as a service. Maybe if you could describe a little bit about what are roll-ups and maybe the comparison between like the ZK versus optimistic versus the more cryptographics.
Yeah, absolutely. So as we all know, right, just like Tom and RG mentioned about like this sort of like optimistic rollup and also ZK rollup. So on our side, we basically provide all different types of rollup for our clients to choose. So there will be a lot of combinations. For example, right now we have different rollup stacks, right? For example, OP stack, Arbitrum Orbit, and ZK Sync and ZK stack, and also Polygon working on this CDK. And also on the DA side, you have EigenDA, Celestia, Avail, and all different ones. Well, what we are providing is really as straightforward as some cloud services. So we give you the dashboard so you can choose different stacks, different DAs, and also some of the different bridges. And then with a bunch of buttons you click, and then you can basically compose the stacks and also DAs you want, and then you can launch the rollup like basically you choose. So that's sort of the things we've been providing for the past few years. We already have the clients like HashKey and also like this Sonium and the other ones AI and decentralized cloud stuff. As Daniel just mentioned, right? There's some difference between this optimistic rollup and ZK rollup. The biggest difference is for optimistic rollup, you have a 7-day challenge period. Basically, if you want to withdraw some assets from the official bridge, you need to wait for 7 days, and then you can claim on the L1. But for ZK rollup, so it really depends on how fast the ZK proof can be generated. If you put a lot of GPUs, you can generate the ZK proof for the L2 probably within a few minutes or a few hours, and then the proof can be posted on L1, like Ethereum. Once it's verified, basically it's finalized. So that's the biggest difference. Of course, the cost is another difference. For this kind of optimistic rollup, typically is very cheap because you don't need super powerful machines. But for ZK rollup, to generate this proof, right, you typically need some very powerful GPUs for it. And also there are some extra costs on the verification. And beyond that, there's a new hybrid version called this optimistic ZK rollup. It's basically you have this optimistic like sort of benefit, but at the same time, if you want to generate the proof when needed, you don't need to do the sort of the challenge game for fraud proof. You just generate ZK proof when it's demanded. So in that case, it's a good combination of optimistic rollup and also ZK rollup.
Interesting. So that was, I think, a pretty comprehensive view of the different type of tech stacks we have with L2s. But maybe something that might be interesting to the audience is maybe you guys can talk, right? The title of the panel is Why L2s Are Winning. Can we go and look at some of the success cases that you guys have each in your respective companies or projects have done? Maybe some real world use cases, some of the clients that you guys have worked with, like organization clients. Maybe start and go down the line.
Yeah, for Metis, our ethos is really big into decentralization in terms of what we stand for and what we build in our vision of the company. We're one of the first network to, if not, I would say first network to really launch a decentralized sequencer for the industry. So that's been up and running for over, I would say, 16 months or so. So being one of the first decentralized sequencer, I think that was really a way to highlight to the industry that this is needed. It's interesting to say that the SEC also really recently announced that, hey, let's take a look at all these L2s. Since they have a single sequencer, do they really operate as a centralized exchange? So this is being, I would say, viewed by the SEC and some of the government bodies on how to regulate this. But we're a little bit ahead of the curve. But just to say that, we're just pushing what we believe in decentralization while we're building in this space. In terms of the partnership, we're working closely with Busan, some countries as Colombia as well, and Vietnam as well, to really help guide them into the blockchain space. I think this is a turning point for our industry where governments are actually interested. They want to know how to apply blockchain technology to kind of their environment, their cities, and how to benefit from that as well. So those are some things that we've been working on pushing, just adoption. I think that's the key thing for our industry at the moment.
Yeah, from the Align side, we have been working, well, you mentioned governments. That's one of our biggest clients. We're working with a company called Sobra. They are building a government stack to help local governments upgrade their identity solutions. That means they're offering verifiable credentials. And they are running their whole infrastructure using the L2 stack that we're building in partnership with Lambda. So they already have more than 6 million users. They have the biggest state in Mexico is called Nuevo León. And the protocol started in Buenos Aires, where they came up with the idea and they built the first MVP. And then they spin out of the government and decided to build this new startup. And this is one of the most exciting projects we're working with because they are actually onboarding millions of users, and they're doing an incredible BD job of speaking with these local governments, explaining them the benefits of doing this 0 to 1 jump of going from servers and Web2 services they have built in the past to something that is self-auditable. Like an L2 is a verifiable server. So we're super happy to be working with them. And then we are working with some partners in the Middle East to help Central Asian countries and African countries to use exactly the same. We are helping them particularly with the identity protocol, but also to build new financial applications because in many cases they are all interested in onboarding their users to something safer and more global in terms of liquidity. So they want access to DeFi, they just don't know exactly what's the best way to build in order to achieve that. And then we're working with a company called Loom Finance. They are a fintech company from Europe. They have over 13,000 companies in their platform. And what they do is revenue-based financing. That means that Web2 companies that want to access cash today, they can sell future revenue. And it's a company in Web2 that has working for the past 5 years. But their bottleneck is the liquidity they have in order to offer to these companies the cash they need. So what we're doing with them is building a new financial ecosystem around their product, using our technology and our L2 stack so they can offer a tokenization version of this product and get access to a global liquidity that we find in Ethereum. So we have government and fintechs working with us, and we're really happy that they are bringing a new market directly to Ethereum. And they all need to own their own financial infrastructure, so that's why they are choosing L2s.
I think for the past few years, right, there's so many rollouts launched like either using OP Arbitrum or ZK Sync. And this year, as Daniel mentioned, like basically I believe there was like sort of a burst due to the Robinhood launching their own L2 using this Arbitrum Orbit stack, right? So on our side, if I can list all the sort of clients, it's just too many. I would just give sort of name some of the clients in different categories. For example, on the exchange and regulated exchange and also RW side, we are serving this hash key. Basically, we launch a chain for them, so they have a lot of these regulated sort of RWA services and products on top of it. And at the same time, on game side, we are working with Double Jump Tokyo, and we just launched a rollup for them to hosting a game called Sengochi. It's the IP from, I think, from Saga. Beyond that, also for AI, we launched a chain for OpenLedger, and also there's another social layer called Cyber, and beyond that, we're also providing some extra this kind of security and fast finality services. One of our clients or basically partners is Sony L2, Sonium. So we help them, right, I just mentioned, if you just launch the optimistic rollup, there's a 7-day challenge window. But with our fast finality, we can dramatically shorten this period of window. And we provide this layer for Sonium, and also We provide another one for the chain called Plume. It's also the RWA L2. But in general, as you can see, right, after so many years, I feel like the infrastructure, especially launching chains like L2s or rollups, it becomes so mature. And a lot of projects, especially right now, there are a lot of applications, they already have a lot of users, right? And if they want to capture all the fees themselves, typically they just want to launch their own chain. And the easiest way is to launch a rollup and a sort of L2. That's basically the trending stuff, I believe, for the next probably few months or even 1 or 2 years for a lot of institutions, stablecoin payment, and even exchanges.
Yeah, that's interesting. We only have a few more minutes left, but I'd be curious as to how you guys, right? You guys are clearly working with a lot of really amazing partners, governments, like these huge companies. But what do you see as sort of like the end game for what you think is like the final win, right? Because you guys are kind of the masters of like these super scalable environments for a lot of the world to kind of start adopting crypto. Like, yeah, I'd be curious in maybe like a few sentences, and we can finish off. What is the end game win for you, right? What are you guys like building towards for that big win? Yeah.
I guess
we can go down. Yeah.
Yeah. For the Metis side, we see a huge shift in focus with AI. So a lot of our resources are like, how do we make blockchain accessible and actually valuable to this industry? So we launched Hyperion, which is with our Metis SDK, high instant L2 with high throughput, and we launched incubated and launched a project called LazAI to really help bring and assetize data. I think how we digitize finance, it's now the new shift is like, how do we digitize and monetize these data assets? Data is extremely valuable, and the contribution and the playability that can be integrated with the data is kind of where we're focused on. We think it's not an end game. I think it's the next evolution for us on which market and how can we contribute to the industry.
Yeah, for us, the end game is upgrading the world to Ethereum. We say this because we truly believe Ethereum is one of the most important innovations in the last decades in the world. And what we are trying to achieve is building the products that we believe are missing in order to help the world migrate and upgrade to Ethereum. So that's our mission, and we believe that by building the best technology possible, with usability in mind, by talking with different clients from all over the world, because we're a very global company, we work with people from Latin America, Africa, Central Asia, and hopefully from more countries, we'll be able to achieve this. So we're very pragmatic. We believe the world needs Ethereum. We believe trust is an issue in this very crazy world, and technology that reduces the cost of trust is going to be super important, and that's why we are building on top of this, and we're trying to build the best stack possible to make this extremely easy to happen.
For us, we still feel that we need to provide the most robust and also stable infrastructure for the mass adoption. We feel like, as I mentioned, right now we're at this tipping point, a lot of shifts from this infrastructure to these consumer applications. We feel that for the next probably a few years, the infrastructure side becomes more and more mature, and we need to figure out, like, okay, what are the missing components? As I mentioned, right, for rollups, there's still some concerns around this single sequencer, and also the finality time is not fast enough. So on our side, we're trying to have, as I mentioned, right, the fast finality layer to help to improve this part. And beyond that, we are also trying to figure out, okay, how we can provide a better sort of blockchain infrastructure for these mass adoption applications, like this AI, social, or even trading. So that's sort of the main focus for us. Like, we need to package all the things together and make sure like we can easily onboard the developers and the users. Because right now it's still very troublesome for new users to use, for example, wallet and a lot of these existing tools in crypto to interact with the blockchains. So we are thinking, like, is it possible we just make everything transparent? So just make everything like so good, and then users don't have all the barriers to access crypto.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, our moderator, Daniel Huang, and our fellow discussion panelists.